Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Ask the Theologian. Sorry we're a few minutes late. Had a slow time with a hairstylist today and getting it all ready there to go. Thanks, Cash. But anyway, we are here. Had a little technical difficulty, but now we are up and running and ready for your biblical, theological, and worldview questions. If you have one, you can put the word question first, and that will take care of us. And now I've had so many things up on my screen. I got to find my my chats here and get going. Glad you're here. Put the word question first, or send your question to askthetheologian.com. But today, for the first time, mark this on your calendar, ladies and gentlemen, we begin with a new segment, Missing, Muddled, or Made Up, only here on Ask the Theologian. As we look at missing, muddled, or made up, we're going to compare some Bible versions to the King James and see what's missing, what's muddled, and what's made up. And today, we have 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 14. I have put up on the screen right here for you the King James as well as those that are missing, muddled, and made up. And we have, actually we want verse 16. 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 16. Without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. Let's take that right there. Without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. I think that's clear, plain, simple. We can understand it. There's no controversy about this. Here is a great mystery. It is the mystery of godliness. Now, with that then, let's take a look at, let's say, the NASB right here. By common confession, great is the mystery of godliness. Okay, everybody confesses it. I don't think that's good as great is the mystery. Great is the mystery, you've got it, by common confession, without controversy. I think without controversy is more plain and simple than we have right here than by common confession. Let's go to the ESV. Great indeed, we confess, is the mystery of godliness. ESV decided the mystery isn't great. It's our confession because after all, we are the chosen, right? Missing, muddled, or made up. That one muddled it. Once again, compare the King James, great is the mystery. Great, indeed we confess, is the mystery. Okay, I guess if you look at it, the mystery is still great. There's our confession. Doesn't really say that there's no controversy there. Without controversy. It's just indeed. Indeed. NIV, beyond all question. Okay, they got it. The mystery from which true godliness springs is great. Wait a minute. Doesn't say anything about where this true godliness springs is great. The mystery of godliness, they changed it to the mystery from which godliness springs is great. Now they've got beyond all question. We can take that as without controversy, but a very different kind of thought that is given. Okay, let's keep on going. Let's go to the New Living Translation. Without question, this is the great mystery of our faith. Where'd you make that up? You did not get it from the Greek. You just decided, hey, it would be better if we said this than we said that because the faith is a mystery to us because we've never read the Bible. NLT. The CSB, most certainly the mystery of godliness is great. Without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. Okay, I like King James better, but it's not a verbatim identicality, obviously, but it kind of says the same thing. New King James doesn't change that phrase at all. Without controversy, great is the mystery of godliness. Okay, let's continue. Let's back up now and continue all the way to the left of the screen and see the King James. God was manifested in the flesh. Now, let's move here to the NASB. He who was revealed in the flesh. Wait. One of them is absolutely clear. God was manifested in the flesh. The other one tells us somebody was manifested in the flesh, kind of like I am and kind of like you are. Look at again in NASB, right here. Great is the mystery. He who was revealed in the flesh was vindicated in the spirit and seen by the angels. Here in the King James, it very absolutely and clearly tells us it was God that was manifested in the flesh. So this guy we've got sitting here in front of us who is in the flesh is God. The King James very clearly says it. The NASB, let's back off that a little bit. We don't want to call him God after all. That might offend some people. ESV, drop God. He was manifested in the flesh. NIV, he appeared in the flesh. NLT, let's see, Christ was revealed in a human body. Doesn't say, the NLT doesn't want us to know that Christ is God. They change it. Christian Study of Standard Bible, which is none of the above. He was manifested in the flesh. The New King James, God was manifested in the flesh. Okay, so only King James, New King James tell us explicitly that God was manifested in the flesh. Justified in the Spirit, vindicated in the Spirit, vindicated by the Spirit, vindicated by the Spirit, vindicated by the Spirit, vindicated by the Spirit, justified. So New King James and King James are justified rather than vindicated. We could talk about whether that muddles or what that does. Maybe it's the same or the nuance of the same meaning. But not nearly as bad as, don't tell him it's God. Let's go on to another one. Let's see, justified in the Spirit, seen of angels, seen by angels, seen by angels, seen by angels, seen by angels. We continue, let's see, vindicated in the Spirit, seen by angels, and seen by angels. So, seen of angels, seen by angels, I think you would agree, not much difference there. Preached unto the Gentiles, proclaimed among the nations, preached among the nations. He was, announced to the nations. We don't want to get too preachy in a Bible. Preached among the nations, preached among the Gentiles. So, I tell you what, I'm not going to make too big of a deal there. Because the word ethnos, you always have to look and say, okay, is this the uncircumcised or is this just people out there in the nations? The word Gentiles in 1611 did kind of mean the nations there. So I'll go with it on that. Believed on in the world, 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 believed in throughout the world, believed on in the world, and believed on in the world. Not much difference there. And then received up into glory, taken up into glory. You know, this is subtle because he was received into glory, he was taken up into glory. Both of those are actually true, but one is a passive. To be received is passive. One is an active, taken up. That makes a different subject for a different tense. God took him up. Maybe we could. I just think that that King James is a little more precise here. Taken up, taken to heaven in glory. So the NLT adds, that's not in the Bible. It's not even in the underlying text. They just assume that you're too stupid to figure that out. So they put it in there for you. And Christian Study Bible taken up into glory, and King James received into glory. So I think we've got two issues here in this particular episode of Missing, Muddled, or Made Up. NLT makes up a few things, like the mystery of the flesh. That is NLT, is it not? The mystery of our faith, excuse me. The mystery of our faith made up. Muddled, the NIV, the mystery from which true godliness springs. Muddled. Missing, just God. Just the truth about Jesus actually being the deity there. And that is the first episode of Missing, Muddled, or Made Up. Now, we're ready for your good questions. And we're going to start today with the Bad Penny, who's back again. Good to see you, Bad Penny. Glad you're here. He says, it's been a while since I put in my 2 cents. 1 cent. 1 cent is being bad. That bad penny just keeps coming back. The conversation, the conversation regarding the heart of the earth really piqued my interest. We've had this, what is this, the third day of Heart of the Earth questions? So, Bad Penny says, really piqued my interest. In Matthew 12:40, the Greek word there for earth means soil. Yes, I'm sure it does. However, I'm going to read on here. I don't think there's much option there. Soil, dirt, earth, land, both Hebrew and Greek all used the same word. So you have to come then to say, are we talking literal dirt or not? But and you may get into this because I haven't heard the question in advance, so I'm gonna speculate. If you say 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the dirt, in the heart of the soil, that would almost seem to require burial in dirt. He was not covered in dirt. Of course, we know he was in a tomb, which is open air, shall we say. It had a door on it, but you could go in there and you could breathe and all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't literally in the dirt. In fact, it was hewn out of rock. So is that an argument for or against? I'm going to say maybe it's a limitation to the word right now, but I think because none of if we were talking about the heart of the dirt or the heart of the soil, I don't know what that means. No limitation to the word right now, but I think because none of if we were talking about the heart of the dirt or the heart of the soil, I don't know what that means. An idiom that has some sort of meaning used. Heart, cosmos, what would that be? Not sure exactly where we would go. By the way, Luca will put up a comment here. We are down. We might be back now. We're checked. We do have some internet streaming issues today, or something's going on. We will put up the recording after this. So, continuing on. Matthew 12, continuing on. Matthew 12:40. The Greek word for earth means soil. Sounds like evidence to me that he went to the grave. I would not go there just because there's not a separate word for soil and earth like we have. They would only have one word. It could have said cosmos, but that includes like the whole universe. Would you check that for us and see if, go ahead and put some notification out there as well, but would you see if there is a Greek word, a different Greek word for earth and soil or dirt? I think it probably would be weak to use that particular argument for the dirt. Okay, let's continue. I'll have to go with Wednesday too. Okay, so you do go with Wednesday, and I think I still have the, I still have the chart. I found this, just happened to stumble across it online. That takes the Wednesday crucifixion, has to be at night, and then the resurrection really takes place on what we would call Saturday night. And the first sighting comes with dawn, but it has to be, can't go into 4 nights, so it's really Saturday night. I kind of wonder, Bad Penny and the others who want the 3 nights, do you think we should have a Saturday night celebration rather than a Sunday morning? I know this would get very technical here. We used to have sunrise services because it was the sunrise, when they first saw him, and some places still do. It's just not as popular anymore. I wonder though if any of the Wednesday people would say, hey, yeah, we ought to have a Saturday night. That's when he really came to life. What do you do if you take the Wednesday position? What do you do with all the third day positions? You get here on this Wednesday, every biblical reference to the third day makes that Friday. When we have some that are unrelated to the resurrection, and the third day is Friday. It's the first day, it's the second day, it's the third day. Even if you take Thursday as day 1, the third day is Saturday. Therefore, by insisting that this interpretation of Matthew 12:40 requires Wednesday, you have to ignore the others. I'm not worried about the third day ones. No, the third day doesn't bother me. I'm just worried about the 3 days and 3 nights. I'm going to say you got to worry about both of them. Has to be on the third day. So how do you get, again, just looking at this, again, if we take Thursday as day 1, the third day, it says right there, day 3 is Saturday, not day 4. That means all those Bible verses are wrong. He was raised on the 4th day. He was not absolutely in any way raised on the 3rd day, was he? Let's look at the picture again. Day 3, Jesus risen. After the end, he's on to night 4. He's raised, and he's raised on the first day of the week. So are you going to ignore that? I'll be the bad penny now. This one keeps coming back, keeps coming back, keeps coming back. We got a lot of third day stuff and a lot of evidence for third day stuff. So I think what we're doing is trying to say, bad penny may not be that. You may not be this, but I'm still, my job is to change the way you think. But I think, I'll say it this way. I'll go ahead and put a little bit of snarky here. We like to be different. We all like to be different. It's the common thing we've got is we like to be different. The Catholics went with the third day. All the traditionalists the Catholics went with Friday. All the traditionalists go with Friday. It's been Friday for a long time. I like to be different. Oh, look, here's this passage that I could make it be different. So I'm going to insist that we've got to go by this difference right here, and I'll go ahead and ignore the others. You can't ignore the others. So my challenge to those of you who are who are Wednesday people is, what do you do with the third day, which has to be the first day of the week? I see no way around that. Absolutely. The third day in which he rose is the first day of the week. Count back. You say, but that doesn't work with 1240. Yes, it does. It doesn't work with the way you're reading 1240. So Take the simple stuff first, not the hard stuff. And Matthew 12:40 is hard because you can go either way. Grammar doesn't answer it for us. The word dirt doesn't say he is in the dirt, because the truth is he was not in the dirt. He was in a rock building, not in the dirt. So it doesn't work. There is nothing, technically, that puts him in the grave there. Just that we desperately want him to. That's what I think. Is there another word, dirt, earth? Or are we all the same? What do you got?
Chroma for soil, dust, dirt, for earth, wind, ground.
Chroma, you said? See where that's used. Find me a verse where that's used. I want to see how that's done. The word homa, perhaps. We'll check that out. Now, let me go on. Sounds like evidence to me that he went to the grave. I don't think you could convince the ladies and gentlemen of the jury, because this is, I'm sure Matthew 12:40 has the word gay in it, which is earth, soil, dirt, land, is the word that is used there. So Bad Penny says, I'll go with Wednesday too. Do you think that he died? Yes. Is this somewhat a confirmation bias for an immortal soul? I'm going to keep reading because I'm not sure I'm following the thinking here, although I suspect it's brilliant. Methinks you have an agenda here. Methinks you have an agenda. Would you pray also if you were swallowed up by a whale before dying? Oh, I bet the he is Jonah. I'm sorry, I didn't make that switch there. I had my mind on Jesus. Okay. Do you think that Jonah died? You know, I've got a sermon on this somewhere. I can go either way on that. I'm okay with him dying and being raised again. I'm also okay with him being alive the entire 3 days. But do you think that Jonah died? I'm going to say maybe not. Is this somewhat a confirmation bias for an immortal soul? Methinks you have an agenda here. Would you pray also if you were swallowed by a whale before dying? I think so. I think as I was going down in, I would say a prayer. Jesus, I don't know if I'd say anything else too, but anyway, Jesus prayed before he died. Why not just accept the fact that he was in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights? Well, I would if I could find it in the Bible. If I could find definitive evidence he was in the Bible for 3 days and 3 nights. But what I find is the Bible tells me I will be crucified, I will be killed, I will be buried, I will rise again on the third day. And the Bible so clearly defines the third day, and we know the third day, he said, Jesus by his mouth was moving, third day. I will rise again on the third day. And we know that was the first day of the week. Once again, let's go right over here. So here is the 18th. It's that green one right there, first fruits. That is the first day. Now, let's crucify him back over here on Wednesday, which you could, call him Wednesday, call him Thursday, whichever one you want to do. But 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, depending on where you count. 1, 2, 3. On the third day, oh yeah, that means the fourth. Cuckoo! Me have an agenda? You gotta be crazy, Bad Penny. I never have an agenda unless it's stated. Why not just accept the fact that he was in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights? Why not just accept the fact that the Bible never explicitly says that, but it does say he will be raised on the third day? There is my question for you. What am I missing here? Says Bad Penny. You're missing the third day stuff. Reconcile it and come back. You reconcile it and come back to me. He gave up his spirit on the cross. His soul and body went to the grave. Respectfully, as always, the one bad penny. I appreciate that very much there. And respectfully as well, I tell you, you are dead wrong. Not in the dirt. You're not in the dirt. You're just dead wrong. Thanks, Bad Penny. We appreciate you, and God bless you on that. Let's see. What was that? What was that? Dirt scripture. Do we have one?
There is no times it's used
Oh,
in the New Testament.
okay. That's kind of what I was thinking. So maybe in Greek there is a word, but nobody uses it. At least in Koine Greek, it's never there. So when what's the passage? It's Matthew 13, isn't it? Where the sower and the soils. See what that word is for me on the sower and the soils. Mark 4:8 is one of them. Okay. And does that have the word? Oh, it fell on good ground. Let's check the Matthew 13. Here we have, let's see, behold, a sower went out to sow. Some seeds fell away, and fowl came. Their places, they had not much earth. And forthwith they sprung up because they had no deepness of earth. Yeah, there it's the word. There really is only one word, regardless of what Snurtley over there says. He'd like to blame it on his research tools, but in my vast knowledge, I'm telling you, maybe modern Greek has it. Koine Greek, earth, dirt, soil. Is there a word? Does the English word dirt come up in the King James Bible? It's all going to be that word. So, I don't know, king of the earth, that word's not there, that phrase is not in the Bible, but if it said king of the earth, we wouldn't take it as he's king of the dirt. Again, that's a phrase I'm making up there. Do we have the word dirt? Dirt or soil, either one? I was thinking soil, but then I realized there it does say no depth of earth, talking about soil. Okay. No, there's no dirt in the Bible, ladies and gentlemen. You have heard it here. There we go. Thanks, Bad Penny. I appreciate that. Thanks. Did we fix our streaming problem? Are we streaming or? Okay. Looks like we're on. I wasn't sure. Bad Penny, thank you. Let's go to One Day. Good to see you. One Day has told me where you're from. It's going to come back to me in a minute. One Day, are you here today? Or was it one other day? One Day, if you're here today, remind me where you're from. You have told me before. But before I get to One Day's question, Cash says, didn't she go to the tomb in the dark? She did, but it does say something like, before the sun had come up, something like that. So early in the morning. I know it says early in the morning. Now, that's a pretty broad range, We might say, early this morning, I got up early this morning, because I heard the dog barking outside or whatever, and we might be talking 2 a.m. So there's a lot of leeway there. But nonetheless, One Day's question. Does holding to penal substitution atonement basically make Jesus accursed and contradicts with a hypostatic union? How can it be reconciled with 1 Corinthians 12:3? Sproul, I should say that right, R.C. Sproul, claimed that Christ was cursed. Okay, the penal substitution idea, there's these number of theories for the atonement. I kind of think, and I've been working almost done with chapter 3 of my systematic theology, which is about Christ, and of course it goes to what took place on the cross. And there's all these, they're called atonement theories. Penal substitution is one of them. I think all of them have a little degree of, yeah, that's kind of right. None of it is comprehensive, and I might say the whole concept of let me get an atonement theory sort of is academic, and it complicates the matter. That might be more of a simple matter of he died, he was buried, he rose again. The penal substitution theory is that let me get some a good definition. It is, I'm going to check this, but I would say it is, there was a punishment due, and Christ took on that punishment and paid on our behalf. So penal has to do with, the punishment. Yeah, so sin incurs a legal penalty, and God's justice demands that the penalty be paid. Now, that sounds okay? Sounds right? But the reason it sounds right is because that's what we've been taught all our lives. Remember the old chorus we used to sing? He paid a debt he did not owe. I owe a debt I cannot pay. Whether you talk about it in terms of a debt or a punishment, he took a punishment that was not his. However you talk about that, that's the concept that we have. I'm not sure it is true. Clearly, the wages of sin is death. But I think you could argue that he's talking about Adam's sin. Adam, in one man sinned and all died, even those who had not sinned in similitude of Adam's sin. So they died because of sin. We die because of sin, because of Adam's sin. We're separated from him. Now, the Lord has taken care of it, given us a gift, the way out. But the idea is every sin has its charge. So, is it just a little white lie? Well, you owe, I happen to have a dime right here. You owe 10 cents into the church coffers in order to cover for that little sin. It's a little bit of a Catholic view, isn't it? That, Father, forgive me for I have sinned. I said a little white lie the other day. Well, that'll be 5 Hail Marys and a dime in the church coffers. So then you build that, and the idea is, okay, now Christ came and he took that penalty. He said, I'll pay the dime for him. I'll take care of that. And the wages of sin is death. Okay, sounds good, but I would rather just say he died, and this is where Romans 14:9 comes in. He died in order that he might become Lord both of the dead and of the living. So he needed to go to the world of the dead and conquer it. Take care of death. Overcome this enemy. Have the ability to overcome the enemy. Now, just because you've overcome it doesn't mean that death is going to go away. But you are the one that is experienced with death, and the only one, and you can go and you can handle it. You can take. So he's Lord of the dead and living. So I would take more of a, I don't know if this is this term is used in a salvation context that I disagree with, so maybe I wouldn't call it this if I thought about it too long, but I would take more of a lordship view of why did he die rather than a penal substitution view. Now, the penal substitution view does give the idea that he had to be cursed. He took the curse, he took the punishment, he took the penalty upon himself. By the way, I may be wrong here, but I don't know of a true, of a justice system down through the history of the world in which a a penal sentence, not a civic or civil kind of criminal sentence, but this is one that belongs in the penal system. I don't know one where you can have a substitute. Back in the Civil War, for example, there were a number of presidents that had some political issues for doing this. Grover Cleveland happened to be one of them. You could go into service for yourself, or you could pay people to go for you. I'm a rich businessman. You don't have any money. I'll pay you, $500, $1,000, $10,000. I don't know what the going rate was. I'll pay you. You go fight. I'll pay you. And that was considered legit. That was okay. But that's a lot different than, hey, I murdered someone. Could I pay you to go to prison for me? No justice system, probably through history, lets you do that. And yet we've created this one that lets you do that in the penal substitution theory. That Christ can say, I will pay the penalty for you. I'll take the penalty. It will be mine. I will go to prison for you. Or in this case, I will go to the executioner for you. So it does then require R.C. Sproul's position. And R.C. Sproul's problem on here, I think he just got too academic. His problem in creating this is, now I've got to have one who is cursed. Now, there may be some scriptures you could build to even strengthen the case here. You'd have to be careful to make sure you're just not proof texting and that it actually isn't about the penal substitution theory of modern theologians. It's about something else in some other manner in which that is used. But I think we ought to think through that very carefully. Now, one day mentions here that the penal substitution atonement basically makes Jesus accursed, and he says contradicts the hypostatic union. Okay, here someone might say, I didn't know there was a penal substitution atonement, let alone a hypostatic union. The hypostatic union is, I should get a good definition of hypostatic. It's two natures and one person, two natures. One person, two natures. He is fully God and he is fully man. Hypostasis literally means an underlying reality. Okay, so hypo, under, like hypodermic, stasis, standing. So three persons, one being, Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit in the hypostatic union. But actually, if you're talking about Christ, it is two natures, one person. Now, I think, and I write about this in chapter 3 of my forthcoming systematic theology. We have adopted the hypostatic union because the Chalcedonian Creed told us we were supposed to. And they would kill people who weren't, or take away their homes and their businesses and their right to travel. It's a very gracious time in Christendom. So we've been told over and over, so many times that it must be true, he is one person with two natures. I think this gets into such fine hair splitting that we've got to be careful here, but if it is, I'll go ahead and use the language, two indivisible natures, that's one nature. It's the nature of being the God-man. It's a new nature, one that has never existed before. That is his nature. Which then would come into a problem of how do you curse God? Furthermore, if we're to talk about the Godhead of Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, especially if we can take Luca's theory and put it equivalent to the body, soul, and spirit, then we've got, you can't really curse my body without cursing my soul and my spirit. They all kind of travel together here. So a curse just upon the body almost gets into sort of a Gnostic idea that you can separate the spirit from the body, the spiritual from the physical. Gets into all sorts of weird stuff. Now, the good news is that other than a few discussions here, they only talk about this in the seminary where they mess things up. How does this reconcile with 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 3? Which says, he's writing about spiritual gifts. You were Gentiles carried away unto these dumb idols, even as you were led. Wherefore I give you to understand, no man speaking by the Spirit of God calleth Jesus accursed, and that no man can say that Jesus is Lord but by the Holy Ghost. Now, I think you're right that both R.C. Sproul and others have called Jesus accursed. And it is convenient to be able to say, no man speaking by the Spirit of God would say that. And though I would like to say, yeah, it might be using that a little out of context. That this might have it's not talking about R.C. Sproul and his position on penal authority and Jesus taking the curse on our behalf, and that this is clearly not a led by the Spirit, because no man speaketh by the Spirit of God calleth Jesus accursed. It would be okay. Yes. Thank you. Who said that? Cash. Cash gives me another passage to go in, and I'm going to check Galatians 3:13. Christ hath redeemed us from the curse of the law, being made a curse for us. Now, this is where I don't want to apply this one on the left to R.C. Sproul. No man speaking by the Spirit calleth Jesus accursed. The same guy, Paul, says Jesus being made a curse for us. For it is written, cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree. So you got two different contexts that Paul is speaking in, and he can do it. Now, I would also argue that the Galatians 3:13 here, Christ being made a curse for us, he is talking about the Jews. He's talking about Christ under the law. He's talking in an illustrative manner about the spiritual fact that he was hanged for us. Cursed is everyone that hangeth on a tree. And he's taking that and saying, hey, look, man, what he did for us, wow, he became our curse. How deep theologically should we take that and put it? I almost think we're taking 1 Corinthians 12:3, no man by the Spirit of God calls Jesus cursed, and Galatians 3:13, being made a curse for us, and the penal substitution theory, Christ became a curse, and we are using three unrelated things to try to argue for the same, or two of them argue for the same and one argue against it. I think the problem is our theorizing. Probably some truth. If you were to listen to the entire presentation, you would have to say, okay, well, the way he said that, yeah, I have to say, okay, that I guess that ends up being true. I hope I didn't have to blow the foghorn there. But we take care of that. I notice a preacher question here. I'm going to jump in. Any quick cures to help bring back the voice for a preacher that is barely audible? And Easter is approaching. Can we turn off the recording a moment? How about a hot toddy? Might help. Lemon? Hot lemon and honey? Hot lemon and honey? A little green tea? I don't know about green tea. You don't want, the caffeine, you don't want things that dry you out. You want things that moisturize you. Probably you just say, Angie, I am not going to talk to you for 3 days. You probably have some allergies because it's Wyoming. Wind blows. So get the humidifier. There's no humidity there. Get the humidifier, the vaporizer, whatever you can. And drink a lot. And don't talk much. The good news is that losing a voice, it's better for a preacher to lose his voice on Thursday morning than on Sunday morning. That you probably will overcome. There's my thought. You'll probably be, just take it easy. You'll probably be okay by Sunday. Thank you. Gary from DeBerry. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, this question had come in a few days ago, and it was on the Matthew 12:40 again, and I think we've probably thoroughly covered it on Matthew 12:40, 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly. How does Friday work for Jesus' death, burial, and resurrection for 3 days and 3 nights? Again, I will flip that script and say, how does Wednesday work for being raised on the third day, which is Sunday? Both of those scripture passages have to be true. How can they both be true? I would say one is clear. The third day, Jesus said it, third day, I will be raised. He very definitely talking about was being raised on the third day. And it was the first day of the week. Those things are very clear. So the first day of the week is the third day. In whatever ways you're going to count the third day, there's probably a couple of different ways to do it, but I think you end up with Friday. Maybe you end up with Thursday. You do not end up with Wednesday. But the Matthew 12:40 passage does not have to be about Jesus being buried. As a matter of fact, as Jonas was 3 days and 3 nights in the whale's belly, let's assume he was alive there. And let's be reminded then that that was a time of testing, a time of trial, time of preparing his mind for what he's going to do. The Lord's going to spend that time in Jerusalem, 3 days and 3 nights. I think I've tried to do this, and I don't know that I've ever done it well, and I don't know that I've ever resolved it. But I think I might someday try to build a chronology of the last week to see if it fits with that, Matthew 12:40. Jesus was 3 days and 3 nights in Jerusalem, the heart of the earth. See if we can make that work. I just suspect it's not about his death, burial, and resurrection. Once again, though, I will send forth the challenge to what do you do with the third day? I don't know if Bullinger has surely he says something, but Bullinger, he's like the rest of us preachers. He can take a position really strongly and ignore the things that go against it. We preachers do that. Maybe we humans do that. But I don't know. See if you're able to find anything from Bullinger. I know that's a big tale. You may not, a big task, may not be able to figure that out. But how does Bullinger deal with the third day and make that work? Because he's pretty extensive on these, but he might have ignored it. Let's go to Stefan. And good to see you, Stefan. This came in a few days ago. I'm not exactly sure what day it came in, but I'm going to take this. I have a question. How can we trust the Bible when we don't have the original Bible? Very true, we don't have the original. Too many times we hear the very, very poor argument that the Bible is inerrant in the original autographs, which is an announcement. I don't believe in an inerrant Bible because we don't have the original autographs or the original Bible. So how can we trust the Bible when we don't have it? We know from the text of the Scripture itself, first of all, that they devoted themselves to the public reading of Scripture. They took these, they passed them on. Paul asked them to do that. And so we know that, and it's also somewhat of a common thing in the ancient world. If you got something, you take it, you read it somewhere, because not everybody has that book. You can't just download it, you know. So then we would also expect, hey, if they believe this is the original Bible, they're going to make a lot of copies. They're going to try to get one here and one there and one here, one up and one down, one in every town. And we therefore would expect that there would be a lot of copies. Now, go back and look at textual evidence of ancient works, the number of copies they have of those compared to the Bible. And basically, it is no contest that, Homer's Iliad or any of the works of Plato or whatever, and we don't have those. I assume you probably trust that Homer's Iliad is actually an ancient, very ancient Greek Odyssey, and yet I don't even know if there's a full copy out there anywhere. There's no original. Plato's work, Aristotle, all those. We don't have originals of all those, nor do we expect to. But something on the Bible, we expect that, hey, they really wanted to pass this around. So we've got thousands and thousands compared, again, go to Plato's work or Iliad or wherever, Aristotle, whatever. And you have, one, two, none, whatever. What have you got? Even more modern works like, Isaac Newton or Galileo or some of Copernicus, take some of these. And what have you got there of their writings? Very, very little in there. Some of those, the newer you get, the more, okay, we might have some of Da Vinci's actual work. We've got it there. But you get back very far, we just don't have any of that. So then you have to piece it together and say, look, I've got this, and there are these thousands of copies of this. Going back, for the Hebrew Scriptures, going back into the Dead Sea Scrolls and finding this textual evidence that's just, it's confirmation, 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 textually. And then you say, okay, the information, is it accurate? Oh, it talks about Pilate. Well, lo and behold, we find information about Pilate over here. Oh, it talks about Herod and his building oh, there, look, we got this kind of information. It talks about this prophet and this event and that event and this town and that town. And we begin to pin it, and it's like, oh, it's just like Johnny on the spot. And so textually, we got a boatload of confirmation. And then informationally, we have confirmation after confirmation, 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 confirmation. And the point comes into which you have to be a special kind of stupid to say, nope, only if there's the original. Okay, go for it. But it really is the height of rejection of all evidence to say, I'm only going to go with the original. Thank you for that. Hey, I'm going to get there, but I'm out of time. Gary sends me a Thursday argument. I'm going to look at that, Gary, and we'll pick up there tomorrow. Thank you. And can I take this one? Because I'm in the mood for it. Christ's new creature. I don't know if this came in today or yesterday, or maybe the day before. How do you hold back from totally going off and speaking your mind when replying to totally ignorant and insulting comments on your channel? Sometimes I get off and I'm like, oh, did I totally go off and speak my mind? Should I have said that? Maybe I should have backed off that just a little bit and said that a little nicer. I don't know. There's Pastor Drew down in Georgia. He's fine and dignified. You know, he never just goes off and starts yelling at the camera and about to have a stroke there, right, Drew? I don't know. You know, sometimes I think I should be more kind and dignified and quit being so snarky and ugly and mean. But I don't think I could hold back. I think sometimes you're right. It's just totally ignorant and insulting. Yeah, I've seen Pastor Drew in the pulpit as well. You know, he does the same thing. That's what we preachers do. And sometimes we have to get it through. Or sometimes it just makes me feel better, okay? There. So you'll just know that when you listen to me, you know, going off on a rail, it's just like a ministry to me. It's just letting off steam for stupid people out there. And then if you had a laugh to it, you know, it's all good. We have fun. We have a good fun time. Wouldn't you just hate being around a group of people that was always perfectly proper? Never did they say, "What you talking about?" That would be so boring, wouldn't it? So every now and then, maybe I don't hold. Oh, that was today. Okay, thanks, Christ's new creature. I appreciate that. Yeah, I feel sometimes for the people who tune. They don't know me. They don't know the program. They tune in right at that moment of what's a word for that behavior? What'd you say? Fury. They're at that moment of fury. And I think, man, he is so rude and arrogant. He's ugly too. But anyway, we have fun with it. Thanks for that. Hey, this is Thursday. We're going to do Proverbs tonight. I think we're in the 9th chapter, and we will look through that and have some fun with that. Let's see. Christ New Creature, did you get my question yesterday? I think I did, but I haven't looked back at yesterday's list of questions. I don't think Luca has either. We'll try to. I'll make sure I didn't. Miss your question. I took it off the list if I did, because it's not on the list there. So, but I got a question from Helen. The Thursday issue on from Gary, and a question from Brock. Waiting in the hopper, and that means I'll have room for your questions as well. If anyone would like to do that off hours, you can submit it at askthetheologian.com. Appreciate each one of you being here. And again, look forward to seeing you tonight, 7 p.m. Mountain Time. We'll have a delightful time together studying the book of Proverbs. All the other info at randywhiteministries.org. Thanks, friends. We'll see you soon.